and welcome to my channel. We are back in the office today. As you guys know, Vermont, the Vermont trip is coming up. Now, I've been going fishing in Vermont for, well, once a year we go for a week, and I've been going, I think it's been 6 years now. I think I started in 2011. Yeah, 2011 or 2012 was my first trip, since I was like a baby. And we go every year. It's a family thing. It's an annual thing. We go once a year for a whole week. We go and we rent out a cabin at the same place with the same people, good people, right on Lake Champlain. And we go and we catch some smallies, some largemouth, sometimes some pike, some pickerel, some perch, even a walleye last year. Zach caught for the first time, which was really awesome. But we go there, this big fishing trip, this big family fishing trip. This year, it's going to be a little bit different. It's myself and my father on our boat, and then my brother and his college fishing partner on his partner's boat. So it's going to be just me and my dad on the boat this year. Nick can't make it, unfortunately, this year. My mom's not going this year, and I don't think anybody else we know is going to tag along with us. If they do, it's no problem. But this year, it should just be me and my dad on the boat. So we have a lot of room to do a lot of things. I'm going to get a lot of footage for you guys. Going to do more in-depth on what lures we're fishing, how I rig it up, more catch and release, more just all of that good stuff. I want to make better videos for you guys, and this year is the year that that's going to happen. And yeah, so I'm super excited about that. But Vermont is 3 weeks away, and I know it might sound like a long time away to start packing, but I have a lot of stuff going on. I've got softball, I've got work stuff, I've got just all this crazy stuff going on within these next 3 weeks. So I'm starting to pack up the things that I don't really have to worry about now. So today we're doing my fishing rods and my reels, and we're packing them up and we're putting them away so they're ready to go. I have a tackle warehouse order that I'm making tomorrow, big order, like a $250 order, and then that'll be here within the week. So when that gets here, I'll get everything together in my tackle bag, and that'll be good to go. So all of my fishing gear should be ready to go within this next week. So by Friday, today is Friday, so by next Friday, I should have all of my tackle and everything ready to go, so I won't have to worry about it. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the rods that I bring with me and the setups that I bring now briefly, and then like I said, when we're in Vermont, I will talk to you guys more in depth about it. The first rod that always goes is my trout rod. I know that seems silly, but sometimes when we have free time at the docks, or if I want to catch perch or something, this is just a 4-foot Cabela's all pro 4'6" ultralight fishing rod that I just always bring with me. It goes every trip, so it's going this trip, and I usually just keep that in the porch of the cabin where we stay at, and that's just for dock fishing. Same thing with this. This is a rod that I got at an expo. This is, I think, a 6-foot rod. It's ultra lightweight. It's like a noodle rod. Again, mostly just for perch and rock bass and those things when we're dock fishing for free time. Also, when we're on the boat and maybe nothing's going on and I want to just have some fun, I'll throw these. I might even try to catch a smallie or a largie on both of these rods. I don't know yet, but these rods always go, and they are always just there with me. Now, the reels that I go on that rod, those rods, this is just a Field and Stream Ravena 10, I believe is what it's called. I got this reel forever ago. And then the small reel that goes on the trout rod, which actually, here we go, is actually right here. And this is just a small, so old, another All Pro, just Cabela's mini reel. This is on a micro rod that I use for panfish. This rod's not coming, but the reel is coming, and the rod. So all my reels are going up here for now, and then I will put them away in a second. This next rod is like the OG rod. This is like the first rod my dad ever gave me. It was one of his. This is what I caught my first smallmouth on ever. The reel for it, the original reel, which was the first reel that I ever bought, was this Spyrex 1000 RE. I don't even use this reel anymore, but it goes with me every year. And same thing with this rod. I broke the tip on it, so it's a little bit shorter than what I'm used to. Haven't used it the past 2 years, but always bring it and always have it with me as a backup. And like I said, it's the original rod, so it always goes with me. And right now it just has a Quantum Optics 30 reel on it, which is a little bit big, but that's what it's got on here. So this is getting packed up. This is getting packed up to go with us. Another rod, which is again an OG rod. This thing was this was a Christmas present. It's the Quantum Glacier XP. It is so old. It's a 6'6" two-piece rod, action medium. And my dad got this for me and my brother. Like when we were kids for Christmas, he would always get us like each the same rod. This is like one of the originals. This was my drop shot rod for the longest time. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to use it for this year as well. And I mean, this thing, like I said, it's made like every trip for the past 4 years. I've caught so many fish on this rod, and even though it's just, you know, one of those cheap combos that you get at like Bass Pro or Cabela's or Dick's Sporting Goods, it's always worked for me. So the reel for that right there. Another one. Let's see. Okay, get organized a little bit here. These two rods are fairly new. Bought this rod last year in Vermont. Bought this one not that long ago as well. It's got a lure on here, so I gotta take this lure off. This is a terrible rattle trap that I'd never ever throw. I don't even know why I have it on here. But this next rod is a Cabela's brand rod that I bought, I think, for drop shotting. Realized that it is really super lightweight, but not the best for drop shotting. But I use it for drop shotting. It works for drop shotting. So that's what I have. But this rod is, like I said, really, really sensitive. Use this a lot for fishing at home because the fish here aren't really that big that I catch. This reel actually goes on that other rod that I was telling you about. It's the Glacier 30, and this is just a reel that came with it. It's going back on that rod, but for now it was on this one. A lot of these rods and reels I actually haven't had out since Vermont of last year, just because I don't fish much when I'm at home. The fishing is just so different here, and it's so tough here. Plus I worked a lot last year, so I really didn't fish a lot. So this next rod and reel setup, this is the Cabela's Tourney Trail IM8. It is, I think it's a medium action rod, something like that. It's not super stern or stiff. It has a very sensitive tip. I use this for drop shotting as well. It's a little bit more on the sensitive side than I would want it to be, but you know what? It works pretty dang well. So this rod is probably going to wind up being a backup rod, so this is probably going to just stay at the cabin with us, and if anything happens to my other rods, I will have this as a backup. It's always good to have a backup with you. And then this is just the Glacier 30 reel that came on that other rod that I had. Oh, and I didn't talk about this one. This is a Quantum Optics 30 again. I usually just go with a size 30 for all of my reels. This is a 30. This is a 30. The first one that I bought was a 1000, a little bit smaller, but usually I go with the 30s, and they are a little bit big. I'm noticing that now, but that's just always kind of what I've gone for in the past. So this next rod that I have in my hand is a Gander Mountain Vortex rod. It's a 6'6" rod, and it's a medium action rod. I bought this rod on a whim last year because I just felt like I wasn't getting that my drop shot rod last year just wasn't good enough, and it was an impulse buy. We were at Gander Mountain, and I kind of just bought it. Yeah, so I just bought it last year, kind of on a whim. It's this OD green. I love it. It's a one-piece rod. This rod is so good for fishing small ponds and fishing where I live. It's great, and I have it paired with a P-Fluger reel. This is the Summit, I believe, Summit 30. Like I said, I like a size 30 reel. But this one's a little bit smaller than the other ones, and this is my favorite. Now, I know I pronounced P-Fluger wrong. It's just Fluger reels. But my entire life, I've just said P-Fluger, so that's just what I say. So when I say P-Fluger, I mean Fluger reels. But you guys get the idea. These are my favorite reels of all time. If I could, I would spend the money and replace all these other reels with P-Fluger reels. But I don't have that kind of money, so for now it's just that one, and that's my drop shot reel. And this is, like I said, a 6'6" medium action rod. I don't know what I'll be throwing on that this year. I might be throwing grubs and crawls on that rod this year. The next rod, these are my two heavy action rods, and these are my frogging rods, and also my swim bait rods, things like that. It's usually a frog. See, this has a frog tied on it. These are one-piece rods. One of them was a gift. One of them was a personal purchase of mine last year. This is, I believe, 15-pound braid that I have on here. And that's normally what I throw on my frogging rods. This reel, again, this was a reel that I had to buy last year because my other reel broke while we were in Vermont. Made a run to Bass Pro, made a run over to the Dick's Sporting Goods that they had there. Some people stocked up on lures and some baits because we found a new pattern last year that worked. And then some of us were, like me, were stuck buying a new reel because their old reel or the one that they were using broke. And this is just a Quantum Nitrous 20. It's a good size reel. It's worked actually really great for me. I just, like I said, prefer Pe-Fluger reels. And I have this paired on let me tell you right now. This is it's a Daiwa rod. It's 6'6", medium action, one-piece rod. Really stiff rod, good for frogging. Not in too heavy a cover, but for things like some grass, this works great. Now this kind of broke on me. These two pieces need to be re-glued back into place, which has to happen before Vermont, so I actually have to leave this rod out so that I can do that. My next rod, which is a rod that my dad bought me, is just an Abu Garcia. This is the Vengeance. It's a spinning rod. It is 6'6", medium action. Apparently that seems to be my pattern and just what I stick with. Again, it has 15-pound braid already on here. I'm not going to re-spool this or buy new braid for this trip because I have two reels that have braid. I'm not going to worry about re-spooling one of them. Now, if we go to Alabama and I run out of braid, I might have to buy a spool and spool up. But for the most part, this is the frogging rod. This is frogs and poppers. Same thing with this one. Frogs, poppers, and sometimes swim baits. These are my two heavier action rods. These are what I use for top water, just so you can get that stiff hook set. And I use it on braid because braid just rips through the grass. This is my mom's rod. You guys have seen my mom fish in Vermont with us before. She goes with us sometimes. And this is actually the Berkley Amp Extreme Sensitive Rod. It is a 6'6" medium spinning rod. It is perfect for things like trout fishing. It's a two-piece rod. I want one of these so bad. They're hard to find. You can order them online on certain places. My mom just usually uses this, like I said. It is her rod. But this year, where did I put my scissors? This year, I am bringing it just in case I want to use it. Again, as kind of a backup rod. As to what I would throw on here, I would throw flukes on here. I'll throw jigs. I can throw whatever I want on here. I'm not worried about this rod. And again, this has a Pe-Fluger reel on it. And I'll tell you what reel this is in a second. Okay, so this rod, when I realized that my dad had bought this for my mom, like I didn't realize what rod it was until I actually held it. And it's the Berkley Amp. This rod would be great for camping and catching things like perch or trout. And I really do want one of these for trout fishing. I don't do a lot of trout fishing. But I want to in the future. So I have a couple websites that I found this rod on. Not saying that I can't use my mom's rod. She only uses it when we're in Vermont. So really me using it isn't going to hurt anybody. But if I do want to purchase this for my own personal use, to have my own rod, then there are a few websites that I can find this. But it is actually really hard to find it now. It's a good action rod. It's done her well. And it will do me well this year. I don't know what I'm going to throw on it. I might throw a drop shot on this. That's what I'm thinking I'm going to go with. I might have 2 drop shot rigs tied on this year in Vermont instead of just 1. So maybe I will carry 4 or 5 rods on the boat. But yeah, and this is the Pe-Fluger President. Is that what it says? Yeah. And this is a, God, doesn't have a model, like a number on it. It just says Pe-Fluger President. Okay. Well, you can fit 185 yards of 80-pound line. Again, a little bit of a bigger reel, but it's no biggie. Now, I've got a bunch of reels here. I'm probably going to put them in 2 different sets of bags. The first set, or the first bag that I usually use is really just this. This is like a toiletry bag, right? That you use to carry things like your toothbrush and your toothpaste and your deodorant and all that good stuff. And I am just going to start loading this up with all of my reels. Tuck this in and I just put them in here. Normally I'll wrap them all with in a towel or something like that, but that just takes up so much room in the bag here. So I'm just going to loosen these up, tuck them away. I'm not worried about them getting scratched up. They're fishing reels, you know what I mean? It's going to happen. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. Okay, so let's try to zip this up. There we go. So all of my reels, guys, are in this bag, and it's pretty tight. I can fit one more in here if I need to, but this is everything. And honestly, you guys can hear it. It's not really shaking a lot. They're not getting scratched up. They're all in here tightly packed, and then this will go in the boat. And then when we go to Vermont, this will get packed up and ready to go. So, yeah. Just doing some pre-packing, like I said, for Vermont, so I have everything ready. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.